Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Menopause Made Easy with Tanya, Thriving After 45. And I'm your host, Tanya Willis. I have been in this health and wellness space for over 30 years with a multitude of certifications that you can dive into on my podcast, moveyourbody.ca or vibrantlivingwithtanya.com. And I'm here to help you navigate the messy middle with more ease, grace, and wisdom. And today we're diving into something you may not even realize you're carrying, and that's the fear of hunger. The fear of hunger, the nervous system, and metabolic healing in midlife. And this idea might sound a little strange at first, but stay with me because for so many midlife women, including myself, I have gone through this. This unconscious fear is keeping us stuck in nervous system dysregulation, blood sugar chaos, and mitochondrial burnout. We're going to look at how fear shows up, why it messes with our metabolism, and how healing it starts with curiosity, not control, like I did for so many decades. I'll be sharing with you my own story, at least part of it anyway, because trust me, I have lived this one. So take me for a walk or grab a cup of tea and let's get going. In my book, Cookie Dough in the Dark, I have a chapter, I believe it's called I Thought It Was Just About Food. And for many, many, many years, I was just focused on food. I was just focused on the food because I didn't know anything else. I didn't realize the skills I was lacking. I didn't know my nervous system was dysregulated. I didn't know my blood sugar levels were crashing and spiking like a roller coaster. What I did know was that I always had food around me. And if I didn't, I felt uncomfortable. I always had something in my desk drawer. I always had something in my purse. I had something around me. All right. And here is what a typical day looked like for me way back then. Okay. So this is probably, let's roll back the clock about 20 years. I'd say, definitely my teens, 20s, into my mid 30s, I'd start my day with sugar for breakfast, not intentionally, but in the form of cereal, bread, English muffins, bagels, uh any carb form, right? And by 10:30 I needed a snack and it felt urgent. I'm like, I gotta have something to eat. And then lunch at noon, snack at 3, and dinner, and then a snack again after dinner. And this was pretty much how I ate. I never gave my body a break from digesting, from eating, from thinking about food. And here's the thing. I thought it was just about food. I thought I was doing the right thing, eating often to keep my blood sugar steady, because that's what we were told, right? But the truth was, I was managing anxiety unknowingly through food frequency. It wasn't about food, it was about safety. And I didn't know this at the time. So it's interesting. I look back and, you can read my book, Cookie Dough in the Dark, but I basically, my parents separated and I turned to food. I already had a sweet tooth, but now I just really dove in, and food was my sense of security. It was how I calmed myself. I didn't have any other ways to work through these very uncomfortable emotions that I was feeling. And I didn't know that I was just trying to keep my body safe, my nervous system safe. I didn't understand that my amygdala loves the familiar, right? Good or bad, it loves the familiar. And my familiar was a lot of eating, a lot of eating of sweets, a lot of eating to soothe myself. And I just carried on. Okay. And then I had children and I had to start changing because I needed to. So recently I was reading Dave Asprey's book called Fast This Way. Now, I have been fasting for years, on and off, intentionally, unintentionally, seeing what it does to my body. I've changed a lot of how I fasted. I have done many episodes on fasting. But what I found interesting in his book is he talks about the fear of being hungry, subconscious fear. And um, It's a fear rooted in survival, in scarcity, in a nervous system that feels like it won't be okay without food. And I had another aha. I was like, oh man, yes. And even if you're not consciously thinking, I'm afraid of being hungry, you might notice you panic if there's no snack with you. You eat preventatively. I did this all the time, even when you're not hungry, because I might be hungry. You can't imagine ever going without a meal, and you get hangry and feel like the world's ending at certain times during the day. That is definitely what I was feeling. And this isn't a lack of willpower, it's a nervous system. It is your nervous system speaking to you. And my nervous system was speaking to me, and I didn't hear it, and I didn't know what to do with it. All right. So how does fear affect your nervous system and your mitochondria? So mitochondria are the little powerhouses in your cell. I've done episodes on mitochondria and I've done episodes on nervous system. Just go to the top of the podcast if you want to listen to those episodes. Just put it in the search bar, the name. So let's connect the dots. When your nervous system perceives hunger as danger, you shift into a sympathetic fight flight state, which triggers cortisol release, blood sugar spikes, more cravings, fat storage mode, digestive shutdown. And you're not relaxed. You're not metabolically flexible. And you're just trying to survive the perceived famine, even though food is all around us. Okay, so craziness. And remember, we're just cells. So what happens at this cellular level is that your mitochondria, the powerhouses of your cells, start acting like you're in an emergency. And they become less efficient, they make less energy, they burn less fat, and they produce more inflammation. And this is what I call burnt out battery mode. You're tired and wired, or wired and tired. You eat, but you don't feel nourished. You crave sugar. You can't lose fat, even though you're trying so hard. And oh my gosh, I was stuck in this cycle for so long. And sometimes, very occasionally, I will go back into this cycle, and I'm trying to figure out why. But the thing that I know now is I do understand some of these triggers, and so I can pull myself out. But it's just fascinating how this subconscious is really controlling us at all the time, actually. So how do we heal? How do we heal with grace and compassion and curiosity, which is what I started to do about 20 years ago? All right. And what changed for me? It wasn't a new diet, it was a new mindset. And in January, I really wanted to focus, if you've been listening to my episodes, on letting go of diets, letting go of perfection, letting go of food, and really coming into some root cause issues that you may not have thought about so that you can start to change what you're doing, because now you're going to see yourself as your new self-image. That was last week's episode. You're going to recognize your 5 pillars of health, right? And work on those in a more balanced approach, and getting a new mindset. And it starts with giving yourself grace and compassion and curiosity. And I began to pause, to breathe, and to check in and ask myself, am I actually hungry? Or am I feeling anxious, bored, tired, disconnected? And so many times I am feeling one of those things than actual hunger. And I did not do this perfectly. And I have been practicing for years. And that's the key word. I practice, and I added the word play. So I practice and play, practice and play. And I really tried to connect with love and joy and have fun along this process. So over the years, I have improved my diet tremendously. I don't start my breakfast with sugar anymore. Right? I add protein and healthy fats, less sugar, and this has really helped to support my nervous system. But it was the deeper work, the curiosity, the nervous system regulation that made the biggest difference. So what are some simple steps that we can rewire the fear of hunger? And let me offer you some tools that helped me. And remember that it's not conscious hunger, it's subconscious hunger that you don't realize is running the show. Okay, so let's talk about these 5 things that have helped me and my clients. Breathe before you eat. Take 3 slow breaths, feel into your body, settle into a relaxed state, and this shifts you into rest and digest mode, which is your healing zone. So don't rush eating. Slow down, breathe before you eat. Feel hunger without panic. So when you do feel hunger, observe yourself. What am I feeling? And say to yourself, hunger is not an emergency. My body knows what to do. All right. So maybe you delay your meal by 5 minutes just to sit and just relax and breathe. And then eat more nourishing foods. So really focus on protein, fiber, and fat to keep blood sugar levels stable. When your biology feels safe, your mind follows, and it does much better when you are focusing on nourishing foods. Use supportive self-talk. So instead of saying, I have to eat now, say, I'm safe, my body can store burned fat, or sorry, my body can burn stored fat. Is that what I just said? Anyway, I'm okay. I am safe. I am okay. I have enough fuel on my body. And then perhaps look at your fasting schedule and notice what time your last bite of food is to your first bite of food, and really allow your body to rest. We are just eating too much food too often. We really are in this modern day world. So start with a nice 12-hour gentle overnight fast, let your body rest, and you're not punishing yourself, you're building trust in your body. Remember, you are N of 1, start where you are. Okay, I'm just giving some suggestions. So the fear of hunger isn't about food, it's about safety. And when you begin to feel safe inside your own body, when your nervous system feels calm, when your metabolism follows, and your mitochondria come alive, these beautiful powerhouses, your cravings calm down and you begin to experience ease. So instead of controlling food out of fear, let's get curious. Let's practice some grace. Let's ask some curious questions, and let's make space to heal from the inside out. All right, ladies, thank you for listening today. If this episode resonated with you, I invite you to share it with another midlife woman who may be unknowingly living in that same fear. And let's spread the healing. And as always, be gentle with yourself. You're doing the deeper work, and that's the most powerful kind of work you can do. Thank you for tuning in, my lovely ladies. I'll see you next week. And until then, remember, you are not broken. You are becoming beautiful, strong, vibrant, and energetic.